Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Brown Mouthwash. That is BROWNMOUFWASH. I am your host, Matthew, and I am joined today by my illustrious colleague, peers, John Miller. John Robinson Miller the Fourth. Putting respect on both of those names because he has a whole husband. And Kinesha V. Harris.
V. Harris, period.
Period. I am so excited to have this conversation today because we go way bike. So if you haven't enjoyed an episode of Brown Mouthwash yet, baby, this is going to be first. But before we get into the foolishness, we must start every morning with a swig of mouthwash. Today's mouthwash is 5% alcohol, and I have a peach situation. What y'all sipping on?
Oh, Lord, John. Are you unprepared?
I'm underprepared already. I'm just gonna take a shot of my
story of my life.
Of my Voodoo Ranger, the Juicy Haze IPA. I'm just gonna take, a large mouthful. I didn't read the directions. I'm sorry.
Clearly.
Reading is fundamental. Niche, what you got? I'm sure it's...
Well, this in homage of the brown mouthwash, brown liquor. This is Hennessy Black. That's what we had in the house. I was going to go to the liquor store because I realized I had everything but liquor I was going to take shots with.
Nice.
But my sister, because she's over 21 now, we had some Hennessy Black. So,
see, they be coming in clutch sometimes.
Sometimes.
Okay. Well, cheers. Clink. Yep.
I never actually had Hennessy. That was interesting.
I can't take shots anymore. The way this body is set up.
Oh
my ass. Man, I can't.
Not the reflux.
So that's why I stick to my beers and wines and things now. And margarita. I do get margarita.
Meanwhile, I be out there throwing them bike, okay? I already said in the whole song, take shots like free throws, okay?
To get that young esophagus.
Facts.
Like free throws? As the only person on the call who played basketball, I don't know how I feel about that, but okay.
I played basketball in elementary school. Thank you. Middle school. No, elementary school. Thank you.
For how long?
2-3 years.
Well, I played for like 15. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Girl, see, I know. I wasn't trying to outdo you. I was just saying. I did play. Point of order. Or
on the bench?
What is it? No, I was good.
No, you don't know the position, so you can't say you played.
Oh, yeah, no. I don't know what position. I was out there shooting the ball. I was out there slapping. I didn't slap people.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm not even gonna do that.
Yeah.
Because this is already left.
Dry the boat.
Shut the hell up. All right, we're gonna get started. This is usually called the first pour, but at this point, it's about the second or third. The first pour is whenever we talk about current events and relevant issues in our young lives, and I want to start by talking about this lockdown and the continuing Rona saga. It's been since March, ladies and gentlemen, since everything initially got locked down and sheltered in place. And here we are about to enter into a whole new year, and we still don't have this shit down under control. For those who may not be listening or not know, rather, in the state of North Carolina, our governor has just reinstated, revised, revamped. He put some more rules in order for this shelter-in-place thing and rolled back the restrictions so that they're even more strict. Because clearly ain't nobody have no sense. And this past week, we've broken new daily records for positive cases of coronavirus, I think multiple times. So literally, if it was a competition, we are the true epitome of being better than we were the day before. If that was the exact opposite. So what do you guys think of this continuing pandemic situation and how we're handling it so far?
I mean, are we really okay? From last I checked, what the rules are, it's just you got to be at home by 10 o'clock, and things are closing at 10 o'clock. That means you have the whole rest of the day to spread corona. So what's the point? Like, I was hoping that we was going to be like when we were at the beginning.
Roll us back to phase one.
I'm good with a phase one. Why don't we just do that?
Yeah, I roll us back to phase one, at least phase 1.5. Like to the phase 1.5 with some, social supports, because, there's some folks who absolutely need to work, and like phase one, like really limited their ability to work and like make money, which then all the other things, bills, rents, all the things. So like, I think we should go back to phase one with some supports, because I think that's the thing. Like, we don't really, like, we live in North Carolina, particularly like we're in this triangle area, and there's not really a nightlife. Like, so
not like Atlanta.
Not like Atlanta. Like, we not really, like, we may brunch real hard, but we're not, turning up.
We ain't pussy popping in the handstand all night.
In public.
So, yeah, like, I think that we need to like really get serious about it. Like, we're not doing this well. Like, we as United States citizens
as a country,
not well. We haven't been well for centuries. So
were we ever well?
Yeah, and the fact that it's kind of just been left up to our morals to contain a virus blows me.
Morals. Who's she?
Right. And the thing, like, yes, the people are garbage, the people are trash, but it's like, I'm going to blame the people, but I'm also going to blame the government, because if the government would do what it needs to do, instead of like trying to appease like a middle America, like, I don't even understand why we care that much about middle America, but anyway, that's a whole nother podcast. Why does it matter? Like, why has the not even like the state, local government, like the federal government, why have they not like implemented like national orders? Well, we know because like, look who's there. Right. But like, it starts from the head down. Like, if the head would get itself together, like, hopefully you would think things would kind of trickle down. But like, honestly, it's irritating. I'm ready for this thing to be over. I miss concerts. I miss just being able to go do hood rat shit. Like, I just want it to be over. But like, from the way things are looking, we might not be able to go back outside to like 2022. And like, it's super irritating, especially with the field, like, I used to feel me and John working, like, with the people that we work with. It's like super frustrating, like, seeing what's going on and how it's affecting them and how it's affecting us, which is super frustrating for me. Because I'm like, I want better for them and for their experience, but because the government can't get their shit together, like, they're having like trash experiences. And like, because like my experience when I was like at that age and things like that, like, I know how much fun I had. I know how great it was for me. And it's frustrating not being able to like give them that same experience. Mm-hmm. Like, people need to get it together.
I was like, it is. I feel. I mean, echo like ditto. Like, I feel bad because the folks that we work with are at that age to be making bad decisions. That's just what you do. That like 15, 16 to 21, 22 is just one bad decision after the other. And I think, unfortunately, their bad decisions come at a much higher risk now.
Yes.
But their abilities to process those decisions are still the same. So if we could, if the grown folks would get our shit together, then we could allow more space for some folks that aren't at least fully developed to make bad decisions, even though they need to stay their ass home too.
Yeah. And that just goes back to this whole thing about this collectivist mindset that literally nobody has these days. It's so much bigger than ourselves. And I hear so often people thinking like, why should I be wearing a mask because I blah, 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 blah. Or like, why does it matter if everybody has to stay in because blah, 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 blah. Or you know what I'm saying? They try to make all of these exceptions to common sense rules because it doesn't apply to their particular set of circumstances. And I'm sitting here thinking like, yeah, you may know, quote unquote, that you're not sick, but wearing a mask in Food Lion isn't just for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though you know that you're not sick and you can go wherever you want without a mask because you're not at risk of somebody getting spread, whatever, other people don't know you. So if not for the fact of you don't have to prove it to anybody, at least give them the peace of mind to know that they're not going to catch it because everybody around them is wearing a mask as well, because they might be at a higher risk. Because, newsflash, just because you don't have it doesn't mean, one, you can't catch it, and two, something's not lurking around that can predispose you in another kind of way. And if you don't have the virus, wearing a piece of fabric on your face should not be a problem. You know what I'm saying? Like
the absolute least.
Like,
right. And the thing is, like, people think they don't have it, but there are so many people who are asymptomatic that have it. And like, that's like the bigger, like, I mean, it's a big issue, like, regardless, like, of people who know they have it and like are obviously have it and are out spreading it. But those who are asymptomatic and spreading it, like, they're going to like to the clubs, to bars, and to like these big social gatherings. Like, people are calling them super spreaders because literally that's what they are. Like, there are so many people who are coming back from these things with COVID. And it's like, it's super selfish. Right. Like, with the holidays, like you're saying, like, with the numbers here in North Carolina, Thanksgiving just passed. So like, you know, people were all up in everybody's faces after like so many people being and going out and all that kind of stuff, and like doing Black Friday shopping and stuff like that. So like, of course the numbers are going to spike because people are like out and about after they've like, and then been in like, other people's faces and been in their family's faces and stuff like that. Like, I know, like, I might go to the store, stuff like that. Like, and when I was like back at my job, like whenever I was living there, we were doing like COVID testing. So like, just because like who we work with, like before we would send them places, like we would COVID test them or whatever. And so like they gave us the option of being COVID tested too. And I'm like, okay, like I ain't been doing nothing, I had no business, but like I'm gonna get tested and get tested for the antibodies before I go home. Like my mom and my sister, because like I don't want to give that to my mom or my sister. Right. And even more importantly with the antibodies, like I'm a person that I donate blood a lot. And I haven't done it since COVID started, but like I know they've been calling me to see like, oh, if you've like had it or if you have the antibodies, like apparently it's super, like they want people who have the antibodies to donate. So I'm like, I've been kind of iffy, but I'm like, it's good to know, like if I do decide and like I do have the antibodies, I'm like, okay, yes, I can help in this way or whatever. But it's just so funny because like there's like so much individualism, if that's even a word. And it's just so funny, like looking at it as like Black people, because like historically we've been a very community-oriented people, as opposed to white people who are definitely very individualistic. I had a conversation with somebody earlier. It's so funny to see Black people. Like I expect that from white people because that's what they do. They're all about the self. But like for us, we've always been community-oriented, even before they like stole us from Africa. Like we live together. The saying, it takes a village to raise a child. So like we've always been community oriented. So like for us not to be thinking like that is just like super frustrating, but also a reflection of like Americanism or like American idealism that's been like ingrained in us and stuff like that. So it's super frustrating. I wish we get our shit together. But I'm anticipating being in the house for 2022. So you know, hopefully I'm out before 30.
Like we can, but we can't, it's weird. Like we can't expect to be ingrained in the fallacy that is American individualism, that this weird, like manifest destiny ass, like pull yourself up by your bootstraps, like you can do it on your own capitalistic ethos thing. Like we can bullshit, bullshit. And like, we can't expect it and have whatever this society is, quote unquote, thrive on that. And then when it comes down to like taking care of each other, like we don't have the capacity for it. America doesn't have the capacity for it. Like at best, we have a collective capacity to pretend like we care enough to say that we care, but not to actually implement the systems that actually mean that we care. So like, I'm blown by the whole situation, but I'm actually more blown at the folks, particularly the white folks, that are shocked that we are where we are and that folks don't care. Like some folks are actually really, 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 really blown.
And I don't get
it. They can't just believe that people just don't care about other people. And I'm like, where the hell have you been? Forever.
They literally have never cared.
Like they've never, and just because you've been in the part of the population for whatever variety of reasons where it has looked like people have cared more about you than ever, doesn't mean that people actually care. That just means that you're not in the group that they actively hate.
It's just like, it's like over the summer when like I hate people are calling it this, but these civil unrest, all that stuff that was happening over the summer, and people just like, I can't believe it. Like, what? This isn't the America I know. And like,
oh well.
I look at them like, girl, what are you talking about? Like, you're obviously not Black. You're obviously not a person of color. You're obviously not like a queer person. Like you, like, or any of those intersections. Like, we're all looking at you like, girl, this has been my existence since I was out the womb. Like, like, what do you mean? I'm surprised. What?
Even the poor folks, like you're like, but you're poor. Like you did not have enough resources growing up. How did you not know people don't care about you?
I will never understand a poor.
Is the whiteness that deep? It is actually.
Poor Trump supporters do not make sense to me
at all.
I'm like, he's literally going against you.
It blows my mind. It makes me think of this one of Dave Chappelle's comedy specials where he was talking about the Hillary Trump election and how he was in line, and he was like, whenever Obama was running, I would love to go to the polls because you see all these Black people and it was just so great to see us all together. I'm paraphrasing. He was like, whenever I went to vote in the 2016 election, it was almost the opposite. You just saw a whole lot of whites, but not just the whites, the poor whites. And they were out there having their conversations, like, you know, with each other about, oh, he's going to do so much. And he was looking around like, you guys are poor. He's not fighting for you. He's fighting for me. And then he hit his blunt. I was like,
where's God?
Yeah. In other news, OnlyFans has been really.
We can talk about this all day.
Yeah, OnlyFans is the new thing. In a world of a held back porn industry, people took to the streets in the form of this app. And I want to note, because a lot of people did not know about OnlyFans until it became the new Tumblr, the new old Tumblr.
Right.
OnlyFans actually began as basically like a Kickstarter or Patreon platform for anyone to just give exclusive content to their fan base. So it could be the most wholesome stuff. And I think, honestly, I don't know right now, but at least a month or so ago, the top earners on OnlyFans were still people that weren't showing TNA. However, since Rona took hold, people took hold of their phones and started uploading everything to this platform. And so one thing was that I found interesting was it's fine if people that already work in the sex industry are doing this, or, you know, your friends who don't want you to know they have an OnlyFans account, and all of a sudden they buy nice things. But celebrities have started taking to OnlyFans as well. Just a few, Tyga, Chris Brown, Cardi B, that girl from Shake It Up, that's not Zendaya.
I don't even know who you're talking about.
And others. So what do you guys think of the OnlyFans phenomenon? And have y'all subscribed to anyone?
Oh, sure do. Because here's the thing, right? Like I've actually made it a practice that like I subscribe to at least one person every month. One, because I'm a sexual being and I like porn, but another is like, it's also like a form of like supporting folks who are actually like doing the work. Like,
yeah,
like depending on what perspective or point of view, like there are folks out there that are not giving you like a stationary camera. They're giving you multiple angles. They're giving you production. They're giving you like scene work. Like they're doing like the art that it is. And like, yeah, like why not? So yes, I do. And I try to like switch it up to like a new person every month unless I really like the person and then I want to stay on for another month. Like,
okay.
Oh yeah.
yeah, I have not. I've thought about it. I don't make a lot of money, so like I'm gonna take advantage of free resources as much as I can. Okay. But I have thought about it. I've come very close. There are some people that I have considered and are still considering. But to your point of like celebrities getting on it, it's super frustrating. Okay, granted, like the beginning of OnlyFans was more like anybody, I think it's mostly like musicians and stuff like that who are doing a lot of things. And then it transpired into like sex workers doing their thing. And like, it's super frustrating to see like a lot of celebrities getting on it now and taking away from the people like sex workers who like need that as a source of income. And especially because these celebrities aren't, this might sound bad, they ain't showing nothing. So like, it might be like a second, for some, like a second Instagram. So like, why would I pay? Like, why people are super frustrated because they're paying. People want to see what they want to see. Okay, and they want to see TAD, other A's. You know, they want to see those things, but like, that's not what you're giving. You just want to like, it's just another way for you to get money, which is super frustrating because like you already have so much money. And you have so many other ways of collecting income, like streaming and like all these sponsorships and all those other things that you're taking away from the sex workers who need that money. Especially now with like Corona in a lot of states. I don't know if strip clubs are open. I don't know what the sex work looks like in other like areas, stuff like that for other people. But like, it's just super frustrating because like people are taking away their income. People who don't need it. It'd be different if people needed it, but like these artists, they don't need it. Like Cardi B don't need no more money. Like Tiger don't need no more money. Well, I don't know what the sure is like, but like the certain people I know don't need that money. Like you're just hopping on the wave because like you want like capitalism. Black capitalism is still capitalism. So like it's still like bad. So yeah, I just wish they would just stop. Like let the people who need it use it.
Yeah. And here's the thing, like it's like you're taking up like OnlyFans. I don't know how to say this. Like OnlyFans is like a market, right? And I think the folks who can leverage their own websites, to leverage their own resources, because I think the biggest problem is like, I mean, it's very, 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 very annoying for the celebrities that are putting absolutely nothing on OnlyFans and charging an arm and a leg, but those are having very real consequences and very real outcomes. I don't know what the woman's name was who is a celebrity, and then she was kind of one of the first celebrities to like put something like get something on OnlyFans, and then she was charging an absorbent amount, and the OnlyFans was like, well, we actually have to put a cap on things now. So now you're messing with other people's money. The people who are using OnlyFans to like support their living, like their actual living, like their day-to-day living, they now have a cap on how much they can make from a particular, like one particular, like, I don't know, campaign. I don't know what to call it. And I don't know what the woman's name is. I can probably do a quick Google search as we're talking to figure it out. But like, I think it's stuff like that sucks. Like, and I think OnlyFans, I mean, Tyga is really out here.
Yes, I've heard about.
And
yes.
I haven't seen it in the videos. I'm not saying I don't want to see him because I'm curious, but like
you should look.
I will. I'll let you know. I'll text you.
I've heard. You should look. Close your mouth, Matthew.
But like, I think there's just something. There's something very money grubbing about it. Like there's something very greedy about it. And there's something very clout chasing about it. That doesn't give me a genuine or authentic reason to like actually put it up there besides just saying, oh, you have an OnlyFans because Beyonce said it in her song now, and now it's popping, and now you want to get your name out there. Like I think that's a part of this kind of individualistic thing. Is like folks don't realize that their actions mean something to other people who are using that platform. And I think that's my biggest comment about it, is that like, I mean, and it could be something to say that maybe the folks who are using it when all the sex stuff got popping on OnlyFans feel the same way. But yeah, like, I don't know, like it just feels very, why? Like it feels very like Sheba charade to me. Like I don't really understand why you need a line, like why you need an OnlyFans.
Spring, summer. September.
You know what?
September.
Okay, a quick question, and then we can move on. But would you guys make an OnlyFans yourselves? And 1A, would you subscribe to your friend's OnlyFans if you found out they had one?
Okay. I think I would subscribe to my friends, but I wouldn't watch.
Fair.
I don't know what like views have to do with anything. I just can't. It's weird for me. Like I just can't. I don't want to. It's not. It's weird for me to watch my like. Depending on what I mean. Okay, if it's like musical or whatever, but like if they like such a big
musical.
The thing is, like with people like. When OnlyFans started, it was a lot of like musicians doing.
Oh, I thought you meant the porn was a musical.
Oh no!
Like, oh, that's creative.
Actually, if they had a musical porn, I might. Because I do love a musical.
Very creative.
Exactly. So that I might, but like, I don't know.
If I want music in the background. That's something.
Ooh.
I mean, okay, that's different. But like, I don't know if I want to see my friends like fucking on camera. I don't think I want to watch that. I'll support you. I'll give you my money, but I don't know. It's kind of weird for me because then I have to like look at you in your face and be like, I know. Like it's different when your friends tell you about their sexual exploits and things like that, but to watch it for me is different. Now, if I would make one, I don't know. Are my toes cute? I don't know. Is my feet cute? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I could always use more income. Because with my line of work, we don't get paid enough. Like I could always use more income. But I don't think I have my face. Like it'd be something that if I was, my face would not be present. Because of the line that I work in.
No face, no case.
I don't need my face out there. That's what like feet. I think my toes are cute. Other people might not think my toes are cute. I got real skinny feet. I'm only 5'2", so you know. The rest of me is proportional for the most part. So I don't know. I wouldn't take it completely off the table, but it's not like I'm gonna go sign up for one after we get off this call.
Yeah.
I would subscribe and watch.
I don't want to watch you fucking, sir.
I mean, because that's the thing, right? I think I'd watch it with a different eyes. Like I wouldn't probably watch it like through a sexual lens. I'd probably watch it and be like, oh, interesting. But again,
John the type of watching and call you after and be like, bitch, you did that.
You did that. Like, I would affirmation or like, you know what? Well, what if you put your leg like this? And like, what would that do? Like, but like, I think that's a part of my woo-woo bitch. Like, that's a part of my like, humanity is beautiful. Like, we are all sexual beings. So that's a part of my like, I don't pretend like people don't have sex. That's weird to me. Like,
oh yeah, no, people be fucking all the time.
Like, people have sex, and I think that's one of the beauties of humanity. Is that we get to do this, and we get to learn from each other in these very particular ways. And I would rather see real people have sex than these like weird angled for the camera things. Because I think strangely it might make you closer. like if you could actually talk about it, I mean, not talk about like, you know, positions or like who is that, but like if you could actually like talk about, like have these conversations about like, so what you did there, like where did you learn that? Like where did you like, how did it feel like to actually start this OnlyFans? Like, cool. Like I don't think I would start one because, I mean, I'm not gonna say that, but what I will say is like, so for me, I'm not against it, but I also recognize that the society that we exist in, it's going to come back to bite me. If I ever want to run for office, if I ever want to like, you know, do things in the community, for some reason, this is a hang up that we have that like people have sex and like, if I can watch you have sex and you're somehow less of a person. Or less of an upstanding person, or less of a caring person, or less of an authentic, or less of an altruistic person. Like for some reason, when we can pinpoint people having sex, then we consider them dirty or less than, and they can't do things that are caring about others in a way. So like that is the only reason is that like, I mean, sure, like if it's an income, then you know I think I'm good. So, but like I know that I won't. And I'm also lazy. Like setting up the cameras and then editing and then all this stuff. Like that seems like a lot to me.
My uploads would be so infrequent. Like I would have no subscribers. But this bitch ain't uploaded in 4 months. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you have to be super disciplined to like make that happen.
Yeah, that's accurate. I feel like personally, I'm probably like on the same page as Kinesha in the sense of I might not watch every person I subscribe to if I did, but if you told me you had an OnlyFans, I'd probably subscribe at least a month just to be like, oh, okay, boom, here you go. I probably watch too just to see what material is there. Not necessarily because of an attraction, because I probably don't care, but it's the same thing of like, this is content. And I feel like, especially as an artist, as a creative person, we're prone to watch content, you know, and low key judge. So I would be there like, what kind of cinematography are we having?
That's fair.
You know, like
but if you tell me if views matter, okay, I'm gonna watch it. If views matter, I will.
Fair. That's fair.
I'm one of the people that'll like turn something on and like have it on like repeat. It's like when an artist has like a new single to come out, I'll like put it on repeat and turn the volume down real low and just let it play all day. Like I'm that type of person. It's like if a friend of mine was like, if views did matter with like OnlyFans, I'm like, you know what, just let that shit rock or whatever. I'll let it play on my iPad while I'm on my phone doing something else, whatever.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, but I don't think I would personally make one either because of, you know, it's the same thing John was bringing up about the society that we live in. It's just still such a taboo area. If it's like a sex kind of OnlyFans, if it's other things, somebody cares. But if you're going to be a public figure or whatever, like depending on what industry you move into, like that could be a hang up, and I just don't have the time. But I don't know. I feel like if that was a path I decided I wanted to go down, it would probably be popping because most of the things that I create are like, not in a cocky way, but just I have a standard for myself. So I'm not about to put up stuff that I don't think is of quality.
That's it.
It just is what it is. I feel like I mean, you know, I feel like I would have positive reviews overall. So we'll see. So the next thing we have up is the swish. And the swish is our main point of conversation. We're not doing this today.
Oh, damn. This isn't the main point of conversation.
Okay, this pretty much was. So for everybody listening or watching, I do want to give a little bit more background into how the three of us know each other. We are all alumni of NC State University, and we made our biggest connection, or like I guess, at least for me when I was there, through the African American Cultural Center, which was a hub on campus for Black students to just come and exist in a safe environment. And as someone who has gone to a PWI, you know that kind of space matters.
Right.
for literally every aspect of your humanity in that kind of environment. So yes, that's kind of how we came together, and the tomfoolery has just been on 12 ever since. And one of the great things about these two for me is that they really became a family for me in that collegiate space, where I knew that if I came into the center and Kinesha was in her office, or John was in his, or they were in each other's office, I was going to be in there as well. And we were going to be in there, shooting the shit, just getting whatever stresses from the day out, and just
being unproductive,
but still productive in the most necessary kind of ways,
That's it.
We did what we had to do, and then did everything.
I graduated. That's all that matters.
Okay.
Degree.
So,
twice.
Period. 2 times. Period. Go ahead.
Boom, and that's it. So everybody that had something to say back in the day, guess who has a degree still?
Has my name on it.
So yeah, but I just gave that background to give a little more insight into our kind of relationship. And one of the biggest parts of our collective experience is a woman named Toni Harris Thorpe, affectionately known as the Mama Thorpe. She was a huge creator and keeper of that safe space that we came to enjoy and foster for future students. And she definitely was a rock for us. And one thing that she made sure that every person under her tutelage knew is the Sankofa story. Now, I ain't gonna retell that whole thing because it takes a little bit, and we have stuff
at least 20 minutes. We ain't got time.
Okay, but the TLDR Spark Notes version is the TLDR version. Sankofa is a West African proverb, and it means it is not taboo to go back and fetch that which you have forgotten. And that speaks to this whole principle, period. It speaks to this whole principle of using and understanding your past to intentionally affect your future and guide you through your present. So I want to talk to you guys about the concept of Sankofa moments. What are some memorable times where you have, or something from your past has come back to you, or you needed to reach back to get that in order to navigate your present and future?
It's just so funny because both me and John have Sankofa tattoos. So just that just shows the importance of Sankofa and the impact that it has had on us through our lives, even post undergrad. There's just so much, the Sankofa story, we've heard it a gazillion times, honestly, at this point. And each time, I feel like you can take something from it. I know there's a great thing about Mama Thorpe is she would tailor it towards whoever she was telling it to. Mm-hmm. I've had Mama Thorpe come to where I work and have given this the story to people that I service in my job or whatever. And the impact that it has had on those people that I work with is just astronomical. Even in ways that I didn't realize. So I was walking around one time and saw a person had posted it outside of their door or whatever. And I was oh, that really meant something to them. It really is just so hard to think of one moment, because the whole concept of Sankofa is something that you kind of embody. Even Mama Thorpe said this to me, because where I work now is somewhere I used to go. The school, so I work at a school. The school I used to work at is a school that I went to or whatever. And so she, when she found, I told her, she knew I went to that school. When I told her that, she was that's Sankofa in embodiment, reaching back to the place that you were at and helping it move forward, if that makes sense. So I guess if I have to pick a moment, that's something that I can think of reaching back to where I was at one point in helping those students who, especially those Black students, who are in that same, not necessarily mindset, but in that same space that I was, and helping them like self-actualize. Because like at that place and like going forth into undergrad, it was like where I did a lot of my like self-actualization and like just because of things that happened at the time. Because like when I was in undergrad, Trayvon Martin happened. I mean, not in undergrad, when I was like my last year of high school, like that's when Trayvon Martin happened and all that kind of stuff. So like taking those experiences and reaching back to those same people who are similar to myself and like bringing my new self, if that makes sense, to that.
I think the older I get and the more my responsibilities develop and change into something new, like the more I understand that story so much differently. So like Kinesha, I worked at a place that I graduated from, and I thought that was my Sankofa embodiment. I thought that working at the place that gave me my perspective, honestly, that like helped me find myself, that helped me ground myself, and that helped me put my humanity first, I thought that going back to work there was my Sankofa. And little did I know that was actually only a part of it. Like that was because the Sankofa story to me gives you two charges. One, either you see yourself as Sankofa and you recognize that you have to face your challenges head on. You have to remember where you come from. You have to do all the things and ground yourself to then move forward. Or you look at yourself as an elder, because then you also have to realize that the elders thought that they were doing the right thing, and then they had to realize that they messed up, and that they had to come together again and to recalibrate and do something different for the people that follow them. And I think I view myself more as an elder in that story now. Like once I left the space that I was once I left NC State, right, and that was a place that I thought that I was living my Sankofa, and I've moved into a completely different environment, because at NC State the community was still ripe. The community still had that memory of the Sankofa. So I was able to step in and like embody and take up space in that way and like live Sankofa every day. But I've now moved into spaces that the community's not right. Like I'm having to build that space for other people. And and I would never have the gall to be me. I would never have the gall to take up space if I did not have that Sankofa. If I did not really believe it, to say like, no, like I'm going to do this somewhere else. And I think that's the other part of Sankofa, is that you learn it, you take it away, you come back, and you go back. You keep moving and growing, and you keep like developing this thing, and eventually everybody believes that they can be whoever they want to be.
I don't know if I've had nope, that's a lie. I've definitely had my Sankofa moments on a huge scale. I'm sure that there are still those moments ahead for me. But already I know that there have been times where I've had to recall, or I guess pull back things that I've learned or things that I've experienced in the past in order to make a better future for myself. I've even taught, not the story, but the proverb by itself, to my kids in the fraternity. Because whenever you come into what I learned from my intersection of fraternity life and my identity as a Black person, it's very, very interesting, because I did not join a Black space, but I brought all my Black assness with it whenever I stepped up in there. So one of the things that I taught my kids when I had the opportunity was the Sankofa proverb, because why the fuck not? And one thing that I call it interesting, and I call that one of my Sankofa moments, because whenever you are charged with imparting that kind of knowledge onto someone, because it's more than a proverb, it's more than just a sentence. It is a literal like whole mindset and space of being. So whenever you're charged with imparting some of that knowledge onto other people, you have to reaffirm that within yourself, and and know that what you're saying is not only accurate, but that it's true and why it's true. And I think that's what John was just saying, of like knowing that story and not just reciting it or telling them to memorize what you're talking about. It was interesting for me to talk about that proverb and what it means to go back and remember the past in order to guide you into your present and future. Because people aren't trained that way anymore, and people don't think about that. Like, not only in the fraternity, because you're bringing in a new class of kids and you already have, the chapter before them and like the charters and everything, everybody up, the foundational speech. But even with whenever I was dancing on Fusion, like after a while, alumni stopped, and this isn't shade, it's just how it happened. Alumni stopped getting invited to things, and we, like, after you graduated, you were no longer like in the loop with what the team was doing. Whereas when I joined the team, alumni were always coming through the practices, always coming in and meet the new kids on like get-togethers and whatever. And after performances, like they were always, in the know. So it was weird whenever you get to my senior year and the alumni that were there whenever I started would still come around, but they only knew us, they didn't know the newer members by the time I was graduating because the connection was lost. Whenever you bring new kids into the fraternity or whatever, they don't know about the charters because nobody's telling them about them, and they're only continuing by business as usual. So when they try to do programming or try to come up with events, they're like, have we ever done this before? Yeah, we did it back in 2017, but of course you ain't know about it because nobody keeping records or nothing. You know what I'm saying? So it in a span of 2 years in different spaces outside of the cultural center where I learned the story and that concept, I was so mind blown to see so many instances where that could have saved groups,
That's a big issue with a lot of student organizations, of not keeping track and like keeping up with the history of these organizations. I know during our time at State, we saw a lot of like ups and downs in various student organizations, whether it be like, I'm not gonna name any, but like, y'all know what I'm talking about.
Yes, yes, indeed.
Like, there's just so much. It's because I don't know if it's like the young people not feel like they know it. Well, it is part of that. The young people feel like they know everything and they can do everything, and they don't need the elders. It's like the elders are like, oh, they're not hip, they don't know, or whatever. And then a lot of the elders like, yeah, I don't know what y'all talking about either. And there's not a lot of taking the time to meet in the middle. Yes. To listen to each other. Because a lot of people, this is even outside of student organizations, this is things that life in general, people, they'll come together to talk, but will listen in order to combat, as opposed to actually actively listening.
It's not all on the younger kids to keep the gap bridged. Like whenever I was going through the Fusion thing, okay, first, it was funny how the whole divide started. That's neither here nor there at this point. So, but a lot of the alumni would get mad at the current members because they weren't bridging the gap. And I mean, yeah, they did have their responsibility and not invited people, blah, blah, blah. But if we as alumni also don't try to reach out, then we can't really get as mad if they're not reaching back out to us. You know what I'm saying? Now, if we try and they still reject it, we tried, But at least, like, you have to try to extend the olive branch on both sides. And so what the Sankofa story is saying is, like, as accountable as Sankofa has to be for knowing who she is and telling that big-ass bird, you can't tell me anything, the elders that she came from also had to be charged with, how did you build this identity for her in the first place? And how did you give her ownership and agency over her own identity? So I think that that's a very fine line that people need to understand. Like, it's everybody's part. The whole thing of it takes a village to raise a child goes a lot further than literally rearing up that child. Like, you are their window to the world. So everything that they know about this existence comes first from the people that were already there. And then whenever they have that word bank, they make their own sentences.
That makes me think about whenever people complain or like bitch about the younger generation, particularly millennials, because they're always coming for us, but they usually have it messed up with Gen Z, but whatever. When they talk about how millennials act and the things that millennials do, or the things that millennials have ruined, or whatever bullshit they want to come up with and write a think piece about, you have to think, so how did they get that way? Mm-hmm. They got that way because you raised them that way. Like, millennials are sensitive, or like whatever bullshit you want to spew out or whatever, write about. But like, what did you do to make them feel like they should feel that way or act that way or do those things? And then the same thing with like strained parents, like strained relationship with parents. Like, parents always think it's the job of like the kid, like, oh, you didn't call me or whatever. I'm like, the phone works both ways. Like, and at that point, like, I'm not the one that rests up. Look, okay, I'm getting a little personal. Like, I'm not the one that messed up the relationship. Mm-hmm. So why should I be the one to reach out to you when you, as the adult, you have to claim, oh, I'm the parent, this, that, and the third, I'm the adult. Why am I, as the child, expected to fix it? Let me say, whether it be like parent-child relationships or like any kind of elder with like a younger person. So like, that's just super frustrating for me, to think that like, oh, I didn't do nothing. I just existed. I didn't actually brought into this world or none of that kind of stuff. But I'm expected to fix the issues of those before me. Mm-hmm. Why?
I think another dynamic that we don't teach, period, is like forgiveness. And I think, because I think there's two levels of forgiveness. There's like forgiving others and there's forgiving yourself. We for damn sure don't talk about forgiving yourself. We bury those self mistakes in social media, alcohol, and
all
weed.
Kinds of.
That's how we, and I think that's what we see. Like the folks who are operating the furthest away from their highest vibration are always trying to bury something. And it's either something that they haven't forgiven somebody else for, or something that they haven't forgiven themselves for. And I think that's kind of the two biggest things, is like, so taking about the Sankofa story, what we in the version that we know don't hear is how Sankofa had to forgive her mom, and how Sankofa had to forgive the elders, and how Sankofa had to forgive herself. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a big part of the story. Is like, how are we forgiving ourselves for making the mistakes that we didn't know what we didn't know? Because like, when I think back to the shit that I did,
I thank God for growth.
I don't look like what I've been through.
I mean, because a part of me is like, should I be alive right now? Like, whoo, girl,
not be
some things
and help.
But then, like, the other part of me is like, so, and I do think that this is what millennials are doing, and I think that this is what's causing a big disruption between generations. Is millennials are learning how to forgive themselves first before they forgive others. So then other people are trying to put the blame on to us, whether we're like, actually, we're good. This is your problem. So for me, like, I think of the coming out process where I'm like, well, I had to do so much self-work with me to like figure me out. And once I, got to a place where I was cool with myself, then everybody who had a problem with it, that was no longer my problem. That's your problem with me.
Yes.
But that's not my problem with you. So like, I think that's a particular place to be in, is that when you really start to come into your own, people who have this weird expectation of you realize that their expectation of you is not your lived reality, and they get mad at you for it.
Right.
Or if you're not the you that they think you are.
Or you're not the you that they want you to be.
Come on.
And make it that way.
Because either one of these options are not my problem.
Period. I'm good now. I'm good. And that's why I think like our generation is like, we don't get enough credit for what we've done, honestly. It's just like we're more open to things and not as like closed minded. At least not at this age. I can't speak for us when we're in our 60s. You know, when people get into their 60s, 50s, they're like, this is my thing. Okay, same thing with technology. But as of right now, we're in such a wide open space and we're so like open to new things. It's because like also with like from what we've grown up in, so much has changed and we're right in the middle of it. Especially with technology. Like we know dial-up and we know this high-speed thing.
Yeah.
We know AOL, we know TikTok. Like it's just so much that is like so ingrained into us that we're so used to the change and like seeing that change play out over our lifetime. Cause like we're only in our 20s and we've seen so much change, at least technologically. So like, it's hard to not, I mean, yes, okay, some of us aren't okay with change in certain aspects, but like we're still more open to change than other people because we've seen it, like, and we've had no choice. Like Y2K, baby.
I mean, man, we were in church and I was like, oh no, y'all doing too much. What? What if he came like in another time zone? Like what is like I don't understand. Like I know we don't know the hour. What is the reason we don't know the hour because it could be a different time zone? Like I don't understand. What is happening here?
That makes sense.
Right. I mean I was just thinking maybe the adaptability that we've had to have as our generation, just with the world around us, makes us more receptive in some regards of this whole Sankofa concept, of using the past to propel our future, because we have experienced so much that directly builds off of the thing that came before it.
We can see the reach back.
But we can see the reach back. And because it's so visible and tangible to us, like I can go back to my mama's house and pull out my Game Boy Advance. And then go to my aunt's house and see her son on a tablet. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a tangible timeline for us.
That's stuck in the top that had the little like squiggly thing in it.
My PSP is upstairs on my bookshelf and my Switch is plugged up. Like different generations of the same thing. But anyway.
We got the phones that slide up like this with the keyboard.
Come on, Psychic. So I mean, that I think this is something that I'm coming to learn is that I am seeing the potential for a new existence of Blackness that I didn't see 10 years ago. And I get to work with students, right, who are that 18 to 21, and I get to see them existing so publicly, so unapologetically, I mean, a little misguidedly, but also taking up space in a way that I didn't see 10 years ago. Like, and I think like time gives us a little perspective. And I think particularly for us, because we've got to see so much happen in such a short period of time, that I think a part of this Sankofa is also when you understand your past, you can actually see more of a future. Like if you get to see more possibilities, you don't get to see only the same mistakes, but you get to see if we do this right, then this opens up the door for people.
I love that. Well, I think that brings us to a great place to pause for a word from our sponsors.
Sponsors?
Is it She by Sheree?
Good, get the fuck out.
Wait, because it's December, so it may be finally coming. Oh, I think it.
You know what? You know what? You're irritating.
Wait, I'm gonna Google search it.
We got liquor sponsors. I got a liquor, but I got some.
You should get Tara's husband to sponsor. You know, he co-owns a liquor company.
Yeah, I ain't got no sponsors though. I just had to get my computer charger. All right. Well, we're gonna keep moving forward. And next up, we have the gargle. And the gargle is whenever we give advice, answer listener letters, and the like. If you have anything you would like to send in to us for advice and/or commentary, please send it to brownmouthwash@gmail.com. That is BROWNMOUFWASH@gmail.com, or follow us and DM us on social media at brownmouthwashpod. So my question.
Are you sure they want advice from me?
Oh, of course. And so the question.
Not what you should do for legal purposes. I'm not saying this.
Oh yeah, this is not consulting.
This is what I would do in the situation.
Of course. So today is not necessarily an advice thing, but more so just a general question. How do you protect your peace?
I am a firm believer of not doing things I don't want to do. No is one of my favorite things. If I just don't want to do something, I ain't gonna do it. Period. And that can be like personally, professionally. So like we're about to go into like our winter break or whatever, but we still have like one more week for work or whatever. But because of COVID and like the way our work is or whatever, we can like log like sick time instead of like vacation time or whatever. And I was talking to my supervisor and she was like, oh yeah, some people were like emailing me like, oh, they're taking 40 hours off for the week. And I was like, oh, I can do that. So this next week, I logged 40 hours because I'm not doing nothing, period. Unless somebody is dying, I'm not doing anything. And I'm like a firm believer in like taking breaks. Granted, with like my line of work, I can say I'm gonna take a break, but then something comes up and I'll handle it or whatever. Because I'm invested in my job, whatever. And people I service in my job. But I'm real quick to be like, I ain't doing that. Like even like personally, like if somebody wants me to be somewhere to do a thing and I don't want to do it, I'm not doing it. I don't care who you are. My daddy's been like, oh, I want you to do this. I'm not doing it. And I'm gonna be like, you're not gonna, no, I'm not doing it, period. Even with like, that's pre-COVID, because you know, nowadays the excuse is like Corona. But I'm just like, I don't want to do it. I'm grown. Cause like we've got to an age, like, you know, when you're younger, your parents could be like, oh, you got to do this, that, and the third or whatever. We're grown. We can be like, no, I don't want to do it. And I'm good for leaving a space that I don't want to be in or no longer like serves its purpose for me. Cause you know, like people are real quick. Well, I have my keys, but like they pick up your keys and jingle your keys like, all right now.
All right, it's been fun.
I'm good for one of those. But those are kind of like some of the big ways. It's like that and just like being me. And just like being myself. Like I cuss a lot. I might stop cussing in front of kids or like elders, but like for the most part, if I want to cuss, I'm gonna cuss. And just being like who I am. It's probably one of the biggest ways. And not doing things I want to do.
How do I protect my peace? My therapy is how I protect my peace and other people's throats. And I think a question that has come up in therapy that I've now asked myself when I'm faced with the dilemma of protecting my peace is, whose problem is this? And like trying to reduce the mental gymnastics that we do to make it our problem and actually answer the fucking question. Whose problem is this? Is this somebody else's problem that they are putting pressure on me to make it my problem? Is this my problem? How did I create this problem? Is this a should? Is this a must? Is this a want? And how do I then separate those things out? Because there's a bunch of shoulds that come from bullshit places that I have somehow transitioned my mind to must. There's a bunch of wants that I have bullshitted myself to make them must. And actually, in reality, they are shoulds, which shoulds can go to hell.
It could be a should, or it could be a I could do this.
Right.
Or like a want. I can't bullshit myself into turning a want into a must unless it is a part of my coreness. So the more that I am thinking about the crisis that we are in with COVID, my anxiety, my depression, the more I think of all that, the more I have to boil things down to their base. Why does this thing need to happen? Where does this come from? And can I adjust that expectation? And I do that before I even think about even doing the thing, whatever that is. Because I was into a place where I like to pack my life and pack my time with things. And then one day I burnt out and I crashed so hard that it took me a year to pick shit back up. And from that, I no longer have time to trick myself into shoulds and wants that I've tricked myself into being a must. If I say I want this, then I can give myself grace if I don't have the space for it. If I say like this should happen, then I can say, well, why does this need to happen? And then give myself grace for it. If this must happen, then I can then prioritize that to like make it happen instead of having to do all three at the same time.
Yeah.
Because everything is not a must. Everything is not a must. You've lied to yourself to believe that everything is a must.
Facts.
Fuck that.
Right. Period.
That's facts. I think for me, a way that I protect my peace is, well, I mean, combinations of what you guys have both said, but one thing that has been very important for me is kind of, I'm trying to think of how to verbalize this. I feel like outwardly it looks like apathy or like even cynicism at certain things, depending on what it is. But I have been working on not necessarily decreasing my tolerance for things, but increasing my ability to just like let things go or keep things at a barrier. I'm somebody who easily lets things become deep for me. I attach myself to things all the time. Probably because I'm just more of an emotionally led person or whatever. Y'all, this is not news for y'all, but over time, I've understood more and more that some things just aren't that deep, and other things that are that deep are not that deep for me, and that's okay. And I think being okay with the fact that I'm not going to feel this as deeply as you are that's helped me so much, because it's not that I don't care about what you're going through, or it's not that I don't care about this issue or this circumstance or situation. It's just not that deep for me to where I can expend more energy than I have the bandwidth for. And that's super important, because I'm a person that's prone to burning out, like putting 110% of myself into other things before I put any percent of myself into me. And whenever you live that life, like you can do a lot of things. I feel like Superman sometimes with the things that I'm able to carry. But just because you have the capacity for it does not mean that you have to use that capacity for those things. And it just is the way it is. And then whenever I figured out that 6% of the people that you are expending all of your energy to, one, appreciate it, and two, would do the same thing and make that space for you, holy shit, it became so easy to keep this shit at a surface level. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, I think of it as like a house. If it's not your house, but you in a house and you in the center of the house, there are people that can get to the door. There are people that can get through the door. There are people that are allowed to come into the living room, and then there are people that are allowed to go upstairs. I'm upstairs. You know what I'm saying? So
that's it.
There are people who don't even know your address.
Oh,
come on.
There are people who get the P.O. box. Okay.
Not even that, period. Okay.
Like, don't even give me a street view on Google Maps. Like,
you don't know what they
don't even ask because you can't come.
No. Period.
No.
There are people who can only get the business email.
If that, sweetie.
If that. Shoot. There are people who will never see a green circle around MW News Tonight on Instagram.
Baby, I love that good close friends. Anyway.
Okay. And just to clarify, I have a close friends list, but I've never posted a close friends story. So if you're worried about it right now, don't do it because it's not even that. Don't worry yourself with it.
Weak.
And I'm honestly, even if I did post stories and you didn't see it, then that's my business. And
on that top of the brown, because that's my business.
Because that's my business. Like that.
You're looking, I got my sweatshirt on.
Okay, look. Okay.
I got Auntie Tab merch, period.
We love her. We love Tabitha Brown. All of them.
North Carolina native.
Yes. We love the whole household. Tab, Chance, Choice.
Fine. Okay.
Like, and God bless
baby.
them.
Chance.
So glad they're doing good things. You better stop. You better not the
glasses up so you can see.
Listeners, John tilted his glasses. Boy, you better
anyway. MC way.
We're gonna keep that moving. No, I think those are great responses. I hope people are taking notes because we're giving the material, and that's all we can.
I know.
All we can do.
It's a complete sentence.
Period. Like punctuation. If it hasn't taught me anything, it taught me that if you see a period, it's a full stop. Too many people live their lives. Okay? Too many people live their lives.
And he already knows, so you ain't even got to do it. My God.
Ooh, should have bought a Honda.
You know what? I'm about to leave. Yeah,
that's fine. Well, the next thing we have up is called the spit. And the spit is just for anything random that's on your mind, any shower thoughts, any like hits blunt moments that you just got to spit out.
We ain't been in the same place, all three of us, in a good minute.
Oh, it's been good. And I think that's for the best.
It probably is.
We ain't shit.
When was the last
collective
one?
I mean,
Homecoming?
Yeah.
Homecoming.
2019.
Oh, Homecoming. Fuck Corona, man.
Yeah.
You just want to starting to get lit. What was that?
I miss Black Night of Legends though. Because that was a good time. Especially with the drag shows. I saw my first drag show there. And I remember that first drag show, I was there with, I ain't gonna say who I was there with, but John, you know who I was there with.
Okay, yes.
Yes. And that was not long after Anaconda came out. And there was this one girl, she was from Rocky Mount. And she is a big girl. She came and did Anaconda. And when I say I got my life. Okay? Like, that was like my introduction into drag. And I was like, I will never be the same. Because I say sis performed. Okay? I love you. And I've always loved drag or whatever. But like, that night solidified my love for drag.
I remember the first drag show that I saw, since we're on the topic. I think the first drag performance that I've seen in person was you remember when State had that cabaret?
Oh, yeah.
Damn, I forgot about that. Yes.
Right. I think that was the first time I saw a drag performance in person. Was not impressed, but I went to Legends and saw a drag show there, and I was like, oh, this is how it was supposed to probably be. But by that time, RuPaul's Drag Race was like coming into mainstream.
Picking up steam.
Yeah. So I was like, this ain't like what I saw on TV, but like, this is still nice. This is cool. And then you remember whenever we went to, what was it, Flex?
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
he wasn't with us that one time. That first time.
Okay.
Thing in the bell tower. He wasn't there.
Okay.
We'll talk about that.
I was about to say, no, I don't. Oh, yes, I do. Yes, I do now. Yes.
Yeah, it was with the drag comedian.
Yes.
That was a good performance. I enjoyed that one. She was calling people out in the audience and stuff.
Were you there that time that I won a prize? They were doing door prizes, and I won a prize. John, you were there. Were you there, Matthew?
I think so.
Okay.
I think yes, because you did win a whole prize. Yeah,
I went on stage and everything, and the drag queen said she liked my titties.
Because they were real.
Right. But yes, they are mine. If I could cheer, I would. It's a lot. Okay, my back hurts.
Hey, I mean, it's a real thing. To some people that could be a pre-existing condition.
No, deadass. But no, I love drag.
Yeah, it's a true art form.
No, it really is.
Appreciation for it.
It can cost a lot of money too. And black drag and white drag are two totally different things. Oh my God.
Okay, it's two completely different budgets.
It's two different levels of performance.
Especially since whiteness in general is built in mediocrity. Like,
my pearls.
Why did he lie?
That's what I was waiting for. I was waiting for the fact check. I mean, but
I don't see a lie. I talk about every aspect of white anything. It's never as good as anything black. The only thing they got us beat in is colonialism.
I'm building my wall. I'm building my mind wall now.
I'm gonna break it down. There you go. Let me in, bitch.
Okay, the only thing they really got us beat, and you're right, is colonialism and Republican voter turnout. So
lack of hygiene. I actively, whenever I'm in the shower, I make sure I always wash my legs and my feet, but I actively make sure I wash my legs and my feet because I know white people don't. I said I will not be like white people. I will wash my legs and my feet every time I'm in the shower.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, we were already halfway there, but I guess that's a good way to go into our last segment, which is called The Burn. Now, everybody that uses mouthwash knows that shit burns. So
you got a cut in your mouth. Oh, God.
Ooh, especially or like when
acid reflux. So sometimes I get ulcers.
Oh my God,
girl! So
yeah. When I used to have braces,
I've been old for a long time.
That sounds like I used to have braces. I would like cut inside of my mouth sometimes, the wire, and then back when I still use mouthwash, because actually it's not really good for you. It doesn't really help from what I've learned or whatever. But the mouthwash would get in some of them cuts in my gums. Let's tell the fuck about my gums or whatever.
Right.
Peroxide to a cut.
Girl, I used to I've had acid reflux since I was like 12. I've always been an anxious person, and apparently that anxiety manifested itself into acid reflux, and I had to go on premises. I had to do a whole bunch of things. So every once in a while it acts up, and like I can feel myself like burp up acid, and if I don't drink water really quickly, like I just know that I'm going to get an ulcer.
That's fair.
Yeah. So, I've been an anxious person for a very long time.
Baby,
that's gonna be a part of my burn.
Undiagnosed, but
that said, if you do want to expand on that, or if you have anything else that's burning you up that hopefully won't cause an ulcer, now is the perfect time.
I thought it's too much. There's a lot of shit that pisses me off.
Well, I'll start because I'm starting to feel things. So I'm gonna call my anxiety into this hell. And have them sit in front of me. Right. So listen here, you unnecessary bitch. I need you to get your shit together. Like,
Get the fuck out, bitch.
Get the fuck out of here. I'm calling the manager.
Welcome.
How did you get here? Nobody's supposed to be here.
Come on, challenge.
I have things to do in this here life, and I don't need to waste time on you. I don't need to spend 10 minutes writing an email that is just a reply to say, okay. I don't need to be staying up all night, just reliving things that happened when I was 14. I need you to get the fuck out. So, I was really gonna go in on her because so here's the thing. My anxiety takes many different forms and uses many different pronouns. So sometimes I just have to call them the way that they are in the moment. I need them to get under control. Me and my therapist are working on your papers so you can get the fuck out.
Give you a pink slip, bitch.
Eviction notice.
Is that it?
For now.
Okay. Mine is not as heavy. It's something I was talking about somebody else with not so long ago. No, it's somebody tweeted. I realized, so I watch a lot of TV shows or whatever. And I realized in most of the shows that I watch, most of the shows that are my favorite shows, I dislike the main character of those shows. And I'm there for the side characters. Okay? If that makes sense. And I realized, like, most of those shows, the main characters are white and the side characters are Black and or, like, queer. So, to all these white motherfucking main characters who think that their problems are actual problems or think that, like, the world revolves around them or, like, just do a lot of unnecessary shit. Because, like, okay, there's one show that I'm watching, right? It's called The Blacklist. It's on Netflix. I don't know if it's on Hulu. But, like, it's a really good show, right? Like, the main character of the show is this white woman, which I can read white women fulfilled because they get on my fucking nerves or whatever. But, like, she's so wishy-washy. So there's this other guy or whatever. It's like the whole premise of the show is there's this criminal who, like, works with this woman who's in the FBI or whatever. It's like solves these, like, blacklist cases of, like, these, like, hard criminals and, like, really bad criminals who nobody knows about or whatever. Between, like, things like drug trafficking, human trafficking, all kinds of, like, bad shit or whatever. But he has some kind of connection to her that she doesn't know or whatever. And then we, as the audience, also don't know. But then there's, like, one moment she's like, oh my God, I need your help with this thing or whatever. And the next minute it's like, fuck you. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to be involved with you or whatever. And I'm just like, bitch, make up your mind. I'm so irritated with you going back and forth. And, like, I am a huge fan for Grey's. I've watched Grey's Anatomy since I was in the 6th grade when it came out in 2006. Or maybe the 7th. Whatever. Depending on what part of the year it was or whatever. And I love Grey's. I love Grey's Down. My favorite people are, like, not Miranda, but, like, Miranda Bailey, Black woman. That's my girl. Maggie Pierce, also a Black woman. Christina Yang, she's no longer on the show. She's an Asian woman or whatever. Meredith is the main character. There's so much that happens with her. I'm just like, her sounds like, bitch, I don't care. Give me the side story. Like, currently, spoilers for anybody who's listening who hasn't caught up with this season, but, all right, so fast forward, whatever, what I'm about to say. She currently has coronavirus or whatever. And so I'm like, this white bitch will be okay. So I don't know why y'all spend all the time, because she's, like, in and out of consciousness or whatever, and she's seeing people from the past who have died off on the show or whatever. This white bitch will be fucking okay. She is the namesake of the motherfucking show. You know she's not gonna kill her. Like, they always gonna get killed off because the show's fucking ended. So why does it matter? Like, I don't care. I mean, granted, I don't want her to be sick. She got, like, 17,000 kids at this point or whatever. But, like, I don't care. And also, okay, on the fact that people, okay, in shows, when people have kids, this is going to sound really bad, but I love children. I will premise this with that. I love children. On the show, whenever a character usually has a child, the show usually goes downhill from there. Like the show is usually never the same. It's usually not as good. Don't know what it is about them having a child, but it's something about the show is not the same after the fact. I don't know if they become more responsible. I don't know, whatever. Because like also in the show, The Blacklist that I'm watching, spoilers again for anybody who's watching it, the main lady, she ends up having a kid with her trifling ass ex-husband, but who is now her husband again, or whatever, which is a whole other thing I can tell y'all about later. Child, it's a hot mess, or whatever. But like, since she became pregnant or whatever, I'm just like, I just can't even make it through the show. And the person that I'm talking to or whatever also watches the show. I was like, I can't wait. I was like, I don't even know if I can make it past this. I'm at the beginning of like season 4, and there's like 7 seasons. Oh no, it's into season 8. I'm like, I don't even know if I can make it past this. All the white people getting me from my and all the people I'm invested in right now are the 2 like Middle Eastern characters or whatever. Because I really want them to be together, but they're not together right now. There's one black guy on the show who I would say is luckily like the head of like their little unit or whatever in the FBI. Which, you know, is very rare to see a black person in that kind of role. Mm-hmm. But anyway, like, I watch entirely too much TV. I probably should, like, cut back on some of the shows that I watch, but I can't help it. But so many other people on the shows make me mad. I have to be like, Kinesha, this is not real life. You've got to get it together. But, like, the writing be so good, it makes me feel like this is real life, and I really need to, like, cut these people out in real life.
We love that.
That could be a whole podcast in itself. Me cussing out people from different TV shows. Because I'd be so irritated. But like, anyway, I'll leave it at that. Because I can keep going. We could literally be here all day. Cussing out from different TV shows.
I'm pulling a part of it back to be like, you know.
Right. Well, my burn this week, it really burns me out whenever I have food in the refrigerator and then I come back to the refrigerator sometime later and it's gone. I don't understand how people don't know that the food is not theirs. Like, Now, I will say I was a fat ass child and I was really good for going in the refrigerator when I was a kid. Whenever my dad had Subway sandwiches, and I would cut the smallest sliver off the end of the sandwich where the clean cut was, so you couldn't tell that I had been in there, and then just get a little taste. That was me. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I got a little greedy a couple times and cut up a piece that was a little too big. He probably knew, but he gave me a pass because I was a child. What was I gonna do? You know what I'm saying? But now that I am in the age that I am now, if you got food in the refrigerator, I respect the fact that that is your meal that you are planning on coming back to sometime later, and that is not for me. The same way some conversations aren't for me, the same way that some moments and struggles are not for me, this food in this moment is not for me. Now, why people can't understand that my food is not for them as well, that is what baffles me. Because I'm convinced that if you take other people's food in the refrigerator knowingly and know that you're going to leave an obvious amount missing and you can't even be slick about it and you lack couth in that area, you probably have some other area of your life that's fucked up and it's your fault as well. And I don't have any remorse for you if that's the kind of person that you are. It's very fundamental because it's the same principle. It's the same principle because I believe that if you can go in there and steal somebody's slice of pie, especially around the holidays, then you probably gonna steal somebody's man too, and then your ass gonna get cheated on right back. That's the shit that I think that equates in life. You know how you get karma tenfold? I believe that you took every tenfold and wrote it down for yourself, and that's what's coming back for you. You know what I'm saying? If you take people's food out the refrigerator knowing that it's not yours, I hope that you don't get no toilet paper the next time a spike of corona case goes up and you need to go to Walmart. I hope you can't wipe with shit but your t-shirts and hope that shit comes out in the washing machine. That's exactly what I'm done. That's my burn for the day. I don't know why I felt so passionate about it, but it just really got on me. Because I'd be looking forward to that food that I set aside, especially if I'd just be making plans. You know how you prepare your taste buds for it, and you just know, like, ooh, whenever I finally get to that piece of cake, that thing gonna be good. It's gonna bless my spirit. And then you open the refrigerator and it's not there, and you be searching, like you be in the back, like maybe it got pushed back. You know what I'm saying? Like I got roommates that maybe they just misplaced it. No, that shit is gone. It's gone. Like
you cannot cover your face with your locks, John. Woo! And
Well,
you know what? My daddy used to be real bad about that. He did. No. You know what pisses me off? Niggas who only eat meat. like won't eat the sides, but would just eat meat.
Fruits.
Like whenever we go, like okay, recently we went to this restaurant or whatever. Well, I don't know why I was there. Whatever. It's like we'll just eat the meat off of their plate, but leave everything else. I'm like, so you don't want no fiber? See, your ass is probably irregular. I just don't understand. Like, I just don't understand. Like, I understand being a carnivore, but you're a human. You need other things.
I believe that has something to do with internalized homophobia, but I'm not going to go there and make that connection today. Well, time to end this before it gets too much worse. All right, everyone. Well, thank you for this.
This is what you get for asking us to come on the damn podcast. You got me 7 mimosas in. Okay.
That's true. Thank y'all. Thank y'all for listening and for watching.
I hope you can hear my shit pop open. Because I'm pouring another one.
Thank you, John and Kinesha, for being here and talking with me. Oh, geez, have mercy.
You asked for this.
I did. And I can't say I'm just...
We delivered, okay?
Okay. Delivered express. Ain't no USPS holdups here.
Then we gave you, deep and, prophetic and shit. And now we're back.
Now we're back. Oh, if you enjoyed this...
I'm going to drink this whole bottle of champagne, y'all.
Golly. If you enjoyed this episode of Brown Mouthwash, it is halfway gone. If you enjoyed this episode of Brown Mouthwash, please continue to listen to us and follow us on social media at Brown Mouthwash Pod. And
like, comment, and subscribe. Wait, not YouTube. Wait, yes. Like, comment, and subscribe.
Yes, like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube at Brown Mouthwash Pod. And stay tuned for future episodes. Golly.
We gotta come back. We gotta have that part 2.
We'll come. We've invited ourselves back.
Trust. I'm sure there will be a part 2, but obviously that will be for another swig of Brown Mouthwash. We will see you all next time. Goodbye.